I remember in 2020 when our CEO announced that we're going to hit 10 million customers. And I was thinking when I heard him say that, because it was the first time I heard it myself, I thought, oh my gosh, this is not possible, that we're not going to reach that target. I feel really worried and under pressure here. But in fact, he recently announced that we plan to hit 100 million customers by 2023, which is an even bigger target. But minding that we currently have around 17 million customers already on the platform, it doesn't seem so far away if we really keep our heads down and we continue working. And to be fair, this is exactly what we've been doing for a while now. We focus on the existing roadmap, and we do try to have an ecosystem that comprises of all use cases of traditional finance and adds the inevitable innovation like DeFi and NFTs and some other very exciting stuff that are about to come, including our own blockchain, our own mainnet that has been live already. So the focus right now is to strengthen what we have. So practically, it doesn't sound very exciting, but we're trying to really strengthen the current products that we have. The Visa card program, for example, that is one of the most popular and stickier products that we have. What we're trying to do is to make it a really global program. Right now, it's available all across the US, it's available in Europe, it's available in Asia, but we're trying to add additional countries to that so that we really make it global. We're trying to strengthen the mainnet and add more functionalities to it, add more interoperability options to it, and have it connect to different blockchains. We're trying to really cater for any financial use case out there, but on a blockchain. So that's the plan. Keep our heads down and keep on working on what we have.
Well, it's an amazing accomplishment. 17 million users. I remember being in this space in 2017, 18, where everybody was hoping to get to 1 million. And that was huge.
Exactly. Now I come from financial services, and like 1 million customer, even in retail, sounds amazing and so hard to achieve.
And so, in terms of the growth that's happened, where do you guys, as you probably analyze the growth, where do you find the most growth happened, and kind of why did consumers, resonate with the credit card or with the DEX or whatever it is, the service they love?
Very, very good question. So from what we're seeing, it's really the traditional products that would drive the biggest adoption. And probably it all goes back to the fact that we are a retail company and we provide services not to professional investors, but more to unqualified investors. And to attract people to invest in crypto or to just hold crypto or to try to pay with it, you need to have a system that resembles more or less traditional finance. So if we leave the DeFi part aside, it's very exciting, but this technology is used by people who are more tech savvy. And if we want to bring in absolutely everybody, and our motto is to bring cryptocurrency to every wallet. And that doesn't happen with very specialized terms and with to technical applications. It happens with applications that resemble your online banking. That's why the app, the Crypto.com app that we have, and the card are the most popular products, and they're the ones driving the biggest growth.
Well, that's the first thing I signed up for, was the credit card once I opened the account. So I totally understand that. But you also have these deals with bookings.com and a bunch of other partners where you get very, significant discounts. I think with bookings.com was like a 25% discount. How are you guys driving that effort, and where do you see that going? I think you have Netflix maybe as well.
We do have Netflix and Spotify and some other big names. It's very, again, coming from the traditional finance world a couple of years back, it's very difficult to bring in consumers into what seems to be a very mundane product if you don't pair it up with significant perks. And this serves as an incentive for, especially for younger people. I think Spotify is the top one inquiry that we get from like literally everybody. So obviously there is a team that works on those partnerships, and we do have like a large marketing department that looks for new partnerships and new opportunities for us to really pair with important companies out there so that we can market our products together. That definitely, I would say, brings attention to crypto.com.
And it's so different than what BlockFi and Coinbase and some of these US competitors, whose cards I also have, but they really don't have any of that marketing tie-in with it. And do you see that as your competitive advantage in the market? Or are you going to go into, like options trading and derivatives trading and, more technical kind of trading areas?
We actually do have a derivatives exchange that we launched a few months ago, and that exchange is very rapidly gaining new customers, and we are interested in all areas of finance. So surely the card is not the only venture that we have that we want to expand. We are putting a lot of focus and building new teams and building new applications out there. We have the DeFi wallet and the DeFi swap, the derivatives exchange. We continue adding new pairs and new options to it. Do we see BlockFi and Coinbase as competitors? I personally see them as people who open opportunities on the market and who drive adoption and help us out as well. Because I don't think it's good for anyone in the industry to go against their competitors, because we are still in a very novice space where there's still a lot of adverse media. There's still a lot of negative attention to what crypto is. So everyone who is an important player in this industry has to work with everybody else to improve that reputation. And I mean, Coinbase started it, right? It's the first crypto IPO, which was very exciting for everybody to see. All eyes were on them. And we were excited to see that growth as well. And yes, of course, we all compete in the same field, but I do think there is place for everybody.
And that brings me to the DeFi question, right? Because in essence, crypto.com and Coinbase and BlockFi and, Binance and a bunch of other companies in the space are really in essence, in a traditional format, traditional type companies versus DAOs, where all of the DeFi projects are, a lot of them are DAO structures. Do you see that as good for your competing in the space, that you're more centralized, and how do you use that to kind of garner market share?
Is it good for us? I mean, we see all sorts of opportunities, right? When it comes to the DeFi space, we weren't the first ones to venture in. So we weren't the Binance in the space. However, we took our time to look back at what the industry was achieving at the time. And then when we launched the DeFi swap, we already knew which direction we want to take. We already knew that we want to put a lot of emphasis on our own chain, to make sure that chain connects to different blockchains, to make sure that apart from offering a pure DeFi experience, we sort of go towards the CDFI way as well. So that interoperability will help people transfer coins from one blockchain to the other. We also kind of put an effort to make sure that it's more understandable for the end user, to beautify it, because DeFi can be rather complex. To make sure we educate the users first. We sat back for a while, we watched the space, and we definitely now are putting much more effort into it. And this morning, when I was looking at the DeFi market cap, it's right now at more than 77 billion, if I remember correctly. And I noticed that the growth across a single day was by 21 bips, and that's humongous. I know it's negligible compared to the traditional equities market cap, for example, but the growth rates that we're seeing in DeFi definitely signifies that this is a technology that is here to stay. And whether it stays in its current format or it actually develops to a more centralized, decentralized model, something that Binance as well have tried achieving with the Binance Smart Chain, for example. I think time will tell, but there's definitely that effort from every participant.
And it almost seems maybe jurisdiction driven. So maybe in some countries, your strategy may be a little bit different than in others as you spread crypto.com. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that?
Definitely, strategy is very different. And I'm going to circle back again to DeFi because again, this morning, I read an article that spoke about the SEC giving an opinion about DeFi and thinking, oh, this may be dangerous. We don't like that. This is pure peer-to-peer. It's very difficult to regulate. Of course, going from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, especially in Europe where I sit, it's so fragmented right now. There isn't a common framework. There isn't even, the common FinCEN registration, for example, that will allow you to operate in a number of states. For us, it's all country one by one, and then every country has their own registration regime or they have a license. It's very tedious task to manage from a compliance and legal standpoint. And I honestly, personally cannot wait for the uniform law that the European Commission is trying to pass in Europe, the MiCA regulation, because this at least would give the same framework for everybody. It will allow us to passport licenses because I really enjoyed the financial framework where we were able to passport a single European license across all member states, because this brought us closer to America to operate on a grander scale. And right now, it's really country by country. And of course, the legal cost for researching every area, making sure that you're operating legally in that jurisdiction, getting all the legal opinions, setting up local entities as well, because we do have offices in a large number of jurisdictions, because this is a necessity to service that area. That all takes a lot of energy, a lot of funds as well. So clearly, I'm very much looking forward to a common framework for everyone.
And now, as you look, now I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal ball as you go forward. And certainly the credit card and everything you guys package in a consumer retail experience, and the idea that you have access to all these different investment opportunities on the crypto side today, especially a lot of Asian, cryptocurrencies that we can find on Coinbase, for example, et cetera. What do you think is going to happen going forward in terms of consumer growth for 17 million to 100 million in 2 years? Are you going to focus more on the credit card and kind of this consumer marketing, or are you going to focus more on the B2B side? Where's the growth going to come?
The growth, definitely the way we see it, is going to come from retail customers. So we will continue executing towards the vision of the founders. We do want cryptocurrency to be ubiquitous. We do want it in every wallet. And that means that not just me from my household, but also, my spouse, anyone, my mother, my kids, anybody, to be able to utilize cryptocurrencies. And to achieve that, obviously, we're going to double down on the more traditional products, but we're also going to start adding new functionalities on the products that are more, let's say, more technical or require more knowledge. I don't advise anyone who has never traded in their life to go and trade derivatives, for example. This requires certain skills. But if you have those skills, or if you've been reading and you're willing to take a risk, a calculated risk, then yes, why not? The derivatives exchange is open to a large number of customers, definitely retail though. And I know that the crypto industry is overall supported, the growth is overall supported by institutional investors. And we have seen this very, very heavily in 2020 and in 2021. Of course, with certain downsides, right? A single Elon Musk is able to prolong the bull run and then literally crash the system with a couple of tweets. Of course, that's for the regulators to think about. How do we make sure that the market is not manipulated by a single person? And institutions do play that important role. But for the real cryptocurrency adoption, the S curve of the adoption. For us to go from this side to this side, you actually need individuals. And this is what the neobanks, for example, have done as well. Of course, everything is supported by VCs and by big institutional money. But at the end of the day, the popularity and the usage comes from the normal users like us.